Welcome to CATT Cast, the podcast for the Contractors Association of Truckee Tahoe. In it, we'll discuss building industry trends, local events, and get to know the cast of characters at CATT. Hey everybody, welcome back to CATT Cast. I'm your host, Dave Gove, and today I am with Joan Jones of John Corta Construction. Joan, how are you doing?
Great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you here.
Yeah.
So Joan, we wanted to talk today a little bit about women in construction. And I'd love to hear your story on how you got into this trade and where you started, where you are now, and maybe some stuff about the journey along the way.
Well, it's been a fun ride. So I was born and raised in Truckee, as most people, or a lot of people know, and went off to college, got a degree in accounting, and then decided to move back to Truckee. And I liked cost accounting and restaurant work and went to work for North Star at Tahoe. And I spent 15 years with North Star at Tahoe and eventually became director of food and beverage for the last 5 years of my career there. And during that time, in the summer months, did a lot of work in construction because we were always building new restaurants. So I was the owner in the relationships with the architect, owner, client, contractor. And so I got to meet a lot of architects, did a lot of projects, and then went to work for Tom Turner at Garwood's and became general manager there. At the time he was building Riva Grill, and I worked on his project with him there, but decided at that time, my daughter was 12, and I wasn't able to spend very much time at home.
Tired of the nights and weekends grind at food and beverages, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, just those two accomplishments right there, I mean, that's a career right there, becoming food and beverage director at a resort and then general manager at one of the most popular restaurants in North Lake Tahoe.
I thought it was my career.
Well,
And,
I'd argue that it was until it wasn't.
Yeah. I decided that I wanted to do something different with my life and left Garwood's. And 3 days later, got a call from John Corta. And John had been working with me on Riva Grill and said, "Hey, do you want to come to work for me?" I'm like, "Yeah,
Interesting.
I do."
Okay.
So he just knew me personally, and he took a gamble on me and knew that I had qualities that could be helpful in his business. And I don't think he knew how at the time. And
Okay.
I certainly didn't know really how. I had an accounting background, but I hadn't ever worked in construction.
Mm-hmm. Other than being kind of like an owner's rep for...
Yes, exactly.
Like, so you were an owner's rep for Tom Turner when he was building Riva Grill.
Yep.
And okay.
And for North Star when we did Summit Deck and Grill and the Day Lodge remodel and those other projects.
I mean, I imagine that you could learn quite a bit in that role. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, at least after seeing several projects come to fruition, you start to get an idea of where we start and where we finish and how we get there.
Yeah, I worked with architects. I did the kitchen design in some cases. So I had a background in it. But I went to work for John and started as his office manager. And one of the things he liked was that I had the corporate background.
Okay.
And so I could add a level of corporate skills to the business. And right away, we added health insurance to the employee package. I worked on how he did estimating work, and he taught me the building trade, basically. And he mentored me for 15 years, basically. I started out doing the estimating work in the office. Then I went out in the field and became a project manager. And in 2010-ish, he said, "Hey, I want to start cutting back, and I think you should go get your contractor's license."
2010,
Yeah.
you said he mentored you for 15 years, and then in 2010, he wanted to start taking a step back. So did you start with them in 1995?
No, I started with him in 1998.
1998. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah,
So now it's
1998.
2010.
Yeah.
He's thinking about what's the next phase in life, right? And I don't want to work so hard as a general
Yeah.
contractor, and is encouraging you to get your license.
Exactly.
And now, was that daunting for you, or was that exciting? Like, what did that feel like?
I never had considered it. I always thought I'd just work for him as his second hand, but I was excited by it too. I think I could do this. I think I can go get my license. And that meant that I had to learn more about the trade side. I was the opposite of most contractors. I didn't start in the field and become a tradesperson, then learn the business side. I started in the business side. I knew the business side and had to go learn the trade side.
I think that's probably a huge advantage for you, to be honest. A lot of contractors, when they make that leap from being a tradesman working for somebody else to going out on their own, they don't have much of that back of the house, if you will, for stealing a food and beverage term, the back of the house skill set. And it can be hard to learn that, especially starting with a degree in accounting, you said, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that really must have been a huge leg up.
It was helpful for me and I worked very well with the clients. So I kind of came at it. I already had that client relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I just had to learn more about how to build a house,
That's
which there's a lot to it.
that's very true. Yeah, there is a lot to it.
There's a lot to
And
it.
it's constantly changing and evolving with new technologies, and
Yeah.
it sometimes can be tough to keep up with. So how was your experience in learning the trade? What did that look like? So
Well, Jones Corta Construction, at the time it was John Corta or Corta Construction, has about 40 employees and really long-term employees, been there for 25 years, had lots and lots of experience. And I really learned from them going out in the field and then talking with subcontractors and, just observing, reading the plans, trying to see what the plans and then see how it's executed, that kind of thing. Really learned from the crew on the ground. I never wore a belt and still have never worn a belt.
Good for you.
John, one of his favorite sayings was, "Where are my bags?" There's 12 sticks in the back of the golf bags in the back of the car. Those are my bags.
Those are your bags, right?
Yeah. So
okay, so you're learning in the field with your own construction crew, and they're taking you through the process step by step.
Yeah.
First thing we're going to start with clearing and grubbing the site, and then moving into foundation, and so on and so forth. Did you ever feel that there was any friction because you were a woman in construction, and there are not a lot of women in construction?
Not really. I really have been accepted very warmly by most everyone. There were a few times where I think somebody would say something, they'd look at me sideways like, how does she know? She didn't know what she's talking about, that kind of thing. But there's also some advantages I found. We had a job site where we were having kind of a cranky inspector. And
Placer County?
we won't name names.
Wasn't Bert, was it?
Well, he came, I get along great with Bert, always have. This was another one. He doesn't work there anymore, but he was just giving our crew a really hard time every time he'd come out for inspection. So John said, "Hey, I want you to go do that inspection." Mm-hmm. So I went out there, and he was the nicest guy.
So you're able to soften him a little bit.
Yeah, it's like you take the edge off a little bit.
Yeah.
And, guys have to put on their better behavior sometimes. So.
Sure. Or maybe he just felt he had like an axe to grind with, push the other male contractors around, but then didn't feel like he could do that, and that kind of flip the script on him a little bit.
Yeah,
I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in 2012, I became a licensed contractor.
Awesome.
John and I were partners. We were going along. He was starting to cut back a little bit, 10 years older than I am, but got cancer and passed away in 2016.
Sorry to hear that.
And that was kind of a big blow because I was newly a contractor, and I had a great relationship with John Corta. He was totally my mentor.
So that must have been overwhelming on a couple different levels, to lose a mentor and a friend and somebody that you relied upon so much, and then also
and then it's such a big part of our business.
Right.
But I gathered the superintendents that were running the job, and we were in the process of bidding projects and said, "Hey, do you guys want to keep doing this? Mm-hmm. We have two options. We can kind of fold it up and we can all go our separate ways, or we can decide to pull together and do this. But I need them. I need all of you to sign on." Yeah. And they did. We decided we were going to give it a shot and keep it alive. And that was 2016. So it's...
Seems like you've made it.
Yeah, well, you've never made it in this business. You've only, the next job.
That's the problem with general contracting, is you're constantly working yourself out of a job.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And hoping for the next one.
And
but we've been busy.
And is that whole crew still with you?
Yes. There's been a couple of retirements.
Okay.
It's good for them.
Great. So a lot of loyalty. So you must take care of them well.
I try. Yeah. It is one of my things I pride myself in. Pillars of my company is really treat the employees the way I wanted to be treated always, and that they deserve to be treated.
Yeah, excellent. And how big is the company now?
So we have 35 employees right now.
Okay, that's not a small business. That's a lot.
We self-perform all of our own carpentry functions, rough carpentry all the way through finished carpentry and some cabinetry, and we have painting crew.
And what type of projects are you primarily working on?
We do custom residential mostly. We've done some commercial work as well. We did Sparks Water Bar down in Sparks, Nevada for Tom Turner. So.
Oh, yes, of course.
You know how world always comes back around.
Perfect, yeah.
Tom hired me to be his contractor after.
Oh, that's great. And that must have been entertaining.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
We get along really well. We knew each other.
Made for an easy transition.
Yeah.
Not a lot of stress with that relationship. Fantastic. Where do you see the business going in the future? Are you a sweet spot for you? Do you want to grow? Do you want to shrink? I mean, what are you thinking?
We're going to stay pretty much the same size. We do 2 starts a year, and they're usually 2-year projects. So we usually have 4 major projects going.
And where are they?
Mostly Mars Camp. Some we've been building up at North Star at the M25. We have 3 projects up there, and then we've done some lakefronts. So,
That's quite an impressive book of work.
Very blessed, very lucky.
Yeah. So before we got this conversation going, you were telling me you're part of an organization about women in construction. What's that all about?
Yeah, I'm a member of the National Association of Women in Construction. And really the goal is to promote women industry in all aspects of the industry and just support and assist in making it more diverse.
Okay.
We have a long way to go.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any metrics on how many women are in construction now, and any idea on the numbers?
In 2022, we just hit 1 million women in construction.
That's quite the milestone.
That is, it's huge, but it still only represents 14% of the workforce.
Okay.
So not very diverse at this point, but it has been growing. There's been a lot of movement of women in the professional industries, architects, engineering, but not a lot of movement in the trades. And that is something I'm passionate about. I think it's a really good lifestyle and can provide a decent wage and good hours, pretty much full-time work, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. It's pretty consistent and something people can really rely on. And I think women could do well in the industry.
And what steps are you taking towards that goal?
I'm a member of the Contractors Association, and
thank you very much.
That has been one of my ways to try and promote women in construction, and then part of the National Association, and trying to get the word out to get people to apply. Career day at the high school once.
Oh, very nice.
So that's another way.
What were the results of the career day at the high school? Were there any?
No interviews.
No takers.
No apprentices and no takers, but interest. And I've mentored a few kids. One an employee's daughter ended up going to UC Davis, and she's a structural engineer now. And
excellent.
I'm really proud of that one because
that's great.
I think she came in the office and learned some stuff.
And that's a great career right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a big advocate for people going to college to get that type of a degree where they can actually hit the ground running right after college and get to work. What, if any, struggles or pitfalls do you think there may be for women getting into construction?
Well, I don't think as small children and elementary kids that it's even in the realm of possibility. It's not something that's discussed. It's not something that is even role played about. So I think just changing the whole storyline that, and making it a part of possibilities is kind of the basic starting ground of that. And then having apprenticeships or shop programs that are inclusive in the school for construction work, whether it's labor, painting, plumbing, electrical, office plans, learning to estimate, all of those things are available and could really, I think, promote women going into those fields.
Gotcha. I will tell you, I've taken my daughter to several construction sites that I've been working on over the past several years, and she has made it very clear to my wife and I that she is not interested in building houses when she grows up.
Darn it.
I know. Maybe when she's a little older, I'll send her over to your office for a summer and see if we can make some changes. Yeah.
Hand her over.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be an architect.
Well, maybe she will be. Take after her mother. Who
Yeah,
knows?
exactly.
Yeah, she does like drawing, so we'll see how that goes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
What advice do you have for any women or young women who are interested in pursuing a career in construction?
Well, I would say to give it a try, or if you have any interest at all, reach out. I think the local construction community is very open and receptive to the idea of women in the fields. So I think if you have any interest, call me up and I would certainly make way to get the introduction for people to see what it's like.
Perfect. Well, that sounds great, Joan. We appreciate having you here. And we appreciate you as a part of the CATT community and wish you the best of luck. And hopefully you'll have the same continued success until you're tired of doing it.
Thank you very much.
All right.